What's up, guys and ladies, and welcome back to another episode of Punker Mike's Custom Action Figure Showcase. In this episode, I'm showcasing my custom Jack Burton action figure. Alright, so kicking it off, if you guys aren't familiar with Jack Burton, he's played by Kurt Russell in John Carpenter's 1986 hit, Big Trouble in Little China. And if you haven't seen this movie, come on bro, what are you doing with your life? Highly recommend checking this movie out. One of my favorite 80s movies. Super over the top, ridiculous. Even if you're not into that 80s cheese, I mean, the character design and the bad guys especially, and the sets are super cool. I mean, there's so much cool shit to look at, even some of the special effects. And then fun fact too, back in like 2012, 2013, me and my wife actually got to meet James Hong, the character who plays Lopan, and he was super cool in real life, and I have ojos verdes, so he hit me with the green eyes line. Shit, that shit was tight. But we're not here to talk about Lopan, we're here to talk about my boy Jack Burton. And like I try to do with most of my customs, I try to utilize the parts and the figures that I already have in my collection for convenience, throw a little bit of my own flavor in there, but try to stay true to the kind of character design. So a good mix of those three.
So I'm in the process of making a little kit bash custom. So I got the legs right here from my dude Luke Cage. I got the buff ass upper body from Hercules. And then I got the May Shelf mullet Eddie Brock, or as I like to call him, Shreddy Brock. Oh yeah, and then the boots from, I think this is Star-Lord, I'm not really sure. Shout out to Al Chang for sending me some fodder. These boots look like they're gonna work. I actually flipped them around so you can see like the lace part is right there, but I like the way that looks better because I'm gonna be making a Jack Burton. So Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China. So obviously not Kurt Russell, but like my own kind of take on Jack Burton. Obviously in the movie Big Trouble in Little China, Kurt Russell's not this shredded. He doesn't have these big old fucking beefy arms. He's more kind of like this body type, where he's kind of like slender toned, where he's like in good shape. I do like this body for him. It's good size and everything. Flesh tone's a good flesh tone. The only thing is I'd have to sand these gauntlets down, which I don't want to do. And then for me, the head, it does fit on here. I'd have to put in a little sculpt so it sits. So, that looks okay. It looks decent. But I like it on this one, like him just looking shred. I feel like this head might be a tad too big for this body. And then fuck it, dude. Why not have a big old shredded fucking Jack Burton? And then, of course, I'm going to be giving him, he's got to have the white tank top with the Fu Manchu. So I'm going to get an iron-on Fu Manchu. Iron-on decal for that. And this will fit on there nice and snug. So far I'm kind of just cracking stuff apart and seeing what's going to work. So far so good. Tank top fits all nice and snug. I got that iron-on Fu Manchu decal. That shit looks tight. So I tucked it in, made it a little tight. And then I used some of this fabric glue. Put that on there, and then once that dried, I put an extra layer of just some crazy glue to make it like all hard, because if you use the waist swivel, I'd hate like over time, it coming apart or kind of like fraying or whatever, because it is fabric. So I'm trying to reinforce that now. And then so I was looking for the Tech 9 because I'm like, man, I knew I had a figure that had a Tech 9, and it was that Punisher that came with a motorcycle. And I was like, man, you know what? This fool would actually look pretty tight in fingerless gloves, bro. So I'm getting the pants ready for modding and painting. So I started to sand it a little bit. I cut the shins in half. That way you can have the pants tucked in the boots. I'm still going to have to Dremel around so I can kind of sell that like tucked in the boots look. Modify these pegs onto right here so they fit in nice and snug. And I can have the top of the boot swivel. And I'm still kind of like, do I want to go with these boots? Because, I guess once they're painted brown, they'll look pretty cool. So these are the pegs that I modified. So I cut these off of that Star-Lord figure. And then you could see I finished sanding these around so they'll fit in the boot cups good. And then to secure these in there, what I do is I get stuff like these little hook screws. And you just screw it in there. And then once it's screwed all the way in, well, I put a dab of super glue or Loctite super glue gel right there. And once they're screwed all the way in and it dries, you can just get a Dremel and just cut it off, sand that down, so now you have like a secure peg. So that way you get the boot swivel, you don't have to worry about that shit snapping off. So I got everything sanded, taken apart, cleaned. Now time to prime. And the kind of primers I use is going to be, I like the Citadel Chaos Black, but it's black. So sometimes you waste a lot of paint trying to go, say if I painted these black to like a light denim color. So that's when you would use kind of like these lighter colors. I went from always using this to trying these ones, and I actually had pretty good luck with these. So it's kind of nice not having to waste so much paint and paint so many layers, especially like I started using an airbrush. So, you know, you have to use so many like thin layers to build up from black to like a light color. So if you start off with a light color, sometimes it's a little easier. So I got the base coat down for the jeans. Then I went back and added a blue wash using the Citadel shade, and then went back and I touched it up with a little bit more blue. So now these bad boys are ready for dry brushing to give that more like worn acid wash look. Got the base coat on the boots, and then I got the head cast, that May Shelf head cast, primed with the base flesh tone, Caucasian flesh tone. And now for some of the fun paint detail and then assembly.
I freaking love this head cast from Sculptor Shelf. So I picked this up at DesignerCon from May, long time ago. I think when he first put them out for the Abomination Wave Venom, and I have been sitting on it for so long, but finally putting paint on it and getting to enjoy and seeing all the little fine details he put in there. I mean, this head is crazy, the amount of detail. So I had so much fun painting it up. Pretty stoked how the shirt came out. I got that iron-on decal on the fabric shirt, and the shirt I got it from GPS Slot on eBay, pretty cheap. And then the shirt fits all nice and snug. And originally the design's supposed to be a lot bigger. It's supposed to take up a majority of the tank top. But since it's an iron-on decal, I didn't want it to be that big because it's a decal sitting on the shirt. So I would hate for it to get scratched off or stretched out. So I tried to do as big as I could without, in my opinion, it compromising the actual design. So for the hands, these are the hands that came with that Gladiator figure. So they're just two gripping hands. I actually cut the finger on this one so he could put his finger in the Tech 9. Tech 9's from that Punisher on the bike figure. And then this one's just a gripping hand. And this knife came from the neck of Chucky. Pretty similar to Jack's knife, except for Jack's knife, the handle's all black. This one has some gold accents. And then he's got some fisted hands. This one also, I believe, came with the Gladiator figure. So in case he wants to sock some fools up, I got the fisted hands. I think these hands are my favorite. So I got the gloved hands, the fingerless glove, the Andrew Dice Clay boys. So these are both trigger fingers. So this one was made for the Tech 9. So Tech 9 fits perfect in his hand. And then this knife, I believe, also came with the neck of Chucky figure. It's a big old fucking like Outback Bowie knife. So I think this is my favorite look, with the gloved hands, with the big old knife and the tech. And so with light blue and some white, I just dry brushed the shit out of the pants to make them look like worn acid 80s jeans, acid washed 80s jeans. So I really didn't do too much to the boots other than paint them and kind of like modify them a little bit. But design wise, I kind of kept them the same. So I do have these rivets that, you know, like in the movie, he has rivets running down. But these are a little too big in my opinion. If these were like maybe 20% smaller or 25% smaller, this would be probably perfect. But yeah, if I could find something a little smaller, maybe I'll go back and I'll glue those on there because I just think these are a little too big. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it inspired you. You could check out some of my other videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. You could check me out on Instagram. My handle is punker_Mike, and we'll see you next time. My dude's all fucking Jack Burton with these big old beefy arms. And then this knife right here. Shit.